Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. Another reminder, Church Militant is on the ground in Rome, bringing you all of what you need to know about the Synod every weekday. Our Rome correspondent Jules Gomez reviews the happenings of the day on Church Militant's Rome Dispatch, hosted here in Detroit by our own Brad Ely. There's a link here in the Vortex every day for the month of October to their discussion and their breakdown of the Synod, so don't miss a single episode of Rome Dispatch, kind of a one-stop shopping for you each day on all the news from the Synod, concise and straightforward. Now, as of this recording on Friday afternoon, knife attacks in China and France, hundreds marching on the Israeli border in Jordan, and Americans fearful of sending their kids to school, all due to the Muslim terror group Hamas's promised day of rage. A point to note, it is in America's large, exclusively Democrat-run cities where fears have run the most high, and police departments are on extra high alert. New York, for example. Now, why would that be? The Democrats have styled themselves as the Open Borders Party, because they are. Since Biden took office, an estimated, because no one really knows, which is scary all by itself, but an estimated 5 to 7 million illegals have crossed over that southern border. And no one really knows who or where they are. There are simply no controls in place, and what few there are just routinely ignored. As the war in Gaza kicks into high gear, captured documents by Israeli soldiers reveal massively coordinated and well-planned attacks by Hamas. And get this, 2 years in the planning, coinciding with Biden's becoming president. It would be politically nuts to think that among those millions, there are not a few thousand, at minimum, there are not a few thousand Muslim terrorists. Heck, isn't that the entire reason a nation has borders to begin with, to keep out those it doesn't want in? But the Democrats have thrown the doors wide open, and anything that happens as a result, it's on them. It's true the GOP has been lackluster, despite all the bluster about the borders and closing them down. Remember all the opposition to Trump's wall from within the party? We can't afford it. It's too much money. Then most of them turned around and shoveled hundreds of billions off to Zelensky and Ukraine, right along with the Democrats. But that said, it has been the Democrats who own this insanity. The party that wants to undermine the republic, to eventually destroy it, of course, best represented by their messiah, Obama, who worked tirelessly for 8 years to populate every nook and cranny of Washington with America-hating leaders. But none of these policies could have become effective if not for the role of the U.S. Bishops' Conference and their phony reading and preaching of church teaching, which explicitly says, by the way, that nations have a right to secure their borders. As Church Militant has excruciatingly detailed, even helping organize a July press conference, helping get the word out, the U.S. bishops get billions and billions of dollars for rolling out the red carpet for illegal immigrants, millions and millions of those illegals. Their dirty work has been handled largely by their socialist gang at Catholic Charities, which is beginning to take flack from members of Congress, like Representative Lance Gooden of Texas, who's insisted on accountability for the billions shoveled directly into these groups. It is not anti-Catholic for members of Congress to demand an accounting of U.S. tax dollars flowing like a torrent into the treasury of the U.S. bishops. This has nothing to do with anti-Catholicism. Heck, millions of faithful Catholics and some bishops want the bishop's role in this to end immediately, especially Church Militant. After all, it is the bishops who have profited off the perversion of the teaching, refilling their coffers after having paid out billions for child sex abuse cases. Another thing they have managed to avoid necessary scrutiny about, but that's another story. Now, as the enormity of the picture increases, Democrat cities across America are holding their collective breath that nothing truly horrible happens to citizens as the day of rage dawns. If something or some killing or violence or something happens, the Democrats and their bishop allies will have only themselves to blame. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.